What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Deadbeat Garage. Today, we're diving back into the EK giveaway build, and we've got a ton of work ahead of us. This car is finally getting prepped for paint, which means it's time to strip it down, fix all the little imperfections, and get everything ready for color. This is one of the biggest milestones of this entire build, because every step from here gets us closer to handing this car over to one of you. The more progress we make, the closer we get to giving this thing away. Let's quit talking about it and let's get this thing torn apart. What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. I'm gonna go ahead and kick my fans off for a moment so you can hear me. So I am just now getting out here to get started on the Civic. As you guys know, we have a lot of work to do to this thing to get it sprayed. So basically, I'm gonna start off with the body itself. What I'm wanting to do is get the fenders off. We're gonna go ahead and remove the doors. I gotta get the bumpers out of the inside of the car. I gotta pull the trunk off, pull the gas door off. We have side skirts over here, and we have mirrors that have to be painted. And as you guys know, I like to tear the car apart in order to paint it. To me, it's just easier to make sure, especially whenever you're doing a color change, to just go ahead and take everything apart, you know, because things like all inside of here is literally impossible to do whenever the door is on. So yeah, that's step one, dude. Get this thing disassembled. So with the fenders off, all I have to do is literally cover the entire front end of the car, because we've already done the engine bay, which is definitely a huge step already finished. So I gotta go grab some tools. And then, yeah, dude, we just got to start pulling a bunch of 10s out of this thing. Gonna get my airflow back on here. So something that I noticed in the comments on the last video, look, whenever we say a race car build, it's just because we are not focusing on this thing being like a daily driver type of vehicle. But at the same time, it is very much so daily drivable. You guys already know it's a freaking Honda, and it's a K20. This thing is going to get a conservative tune on it to where it's going to make some power, dude. As you guys know, it's going to be quicker than most things on the street. Obviously, I leave it up to you if you guys want to turn this thing up and push the limits and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it's going to be your car. Now, another thing that I want to know is this car is not cut. We did not cut this car at all. Zero. If you guys wanted to piece together the interior and make this a full interior car, you're of course more than welcome to do so. I did see a few comments, people saying that they're kind of turned off about the fact that we're going to put Lexan in the car. The Lexan isn't like a big deal to me. If you guys would rather they're just like us to just leave the glass in here, that's completely fine with me, dude. We can do that. Go ahead and throw it in the comments down below. I am leaning towards that because the majority of you guys want glass and some people prefer the Lexan. Be straight up with you. If you wanted to put Lexan in it, you can do that whenever you win the car. You know, it is a full K20 swapped running and driving turbo coupe that you guys can do absolutely anything to it that you want to. It's yours. So I apologize to those who are like, ill, no interior, ill, Lexan. Dude, if you bought a $30 shirt and then got this car for free, you're really gonna complain about it? Come on now. Come on now. Cheese and rice. so now the car is all completely taken apart. I'm going to be going back and forth between 220 and 120. So I got 120 grit and 220 grit. So realistically, I should be able to do this just fine with the 220 grit, but I do like there to be a little bit extra like grip whenever I'm priming a car. Since I am going to be primering this entire thing. The reason I am going to be primering this entire car on the exterior is because I like using high build primer. High build helps you get the body and all the body work and everything smoothened out really nice. Kind of think of it as like a liquid body filler. In areas that you're not 100% satisfied with, you can just go a little heavy with the primer, come back with a block sand, and just get everything nice and even and nice and smooth. For one, it also obviously helps for the paint to stick a lot stronger to primer. But another really important reason on this car specifically is because the body is silver. The doors are like a dark green, you know? The hood is black. Well, it won't be after we're done sanding the living hell out of that thing. But either way, it gives you a good base to start with. So whenever I start laying the white down, it doesn't look different on top of the different colored panels, you know? Gives you a nice even slate to start. Anyhow, with all of the large items removed, I'm starting to get ahead of myself here. We got to get all the smaller stuff, the less noticeable stuff off. So the door button here, dome light, we got to get that guy off. We got to get the door striker off. I also got to get all these stickers off. Want to see some shit? Yeah, it might be time to clock out here soon. Pick up tomorrow. A whole entire booth is moving, man. It's dancing. Anyhow, I'm gonna keep going unless it gets worse. My door flew open and slammed shut as I said that. Oh my God, dude. The tarp holds up on top of the canopy. Holy crap. Yeah, it's ripping loose. Great. Shit, dude. Shit. Oh my God, I hope it don't blow my tree over. Wind like this is super rare in Arizona. Like, we get storms and stuff, but it's not very often we get like ridiculously strong winds, which like that just moved my whole tree. Like I thought my entire tree was coming down right now. Yeah, that tarp is ripping loose on that side over there. So if it gets a good one, it's probably gonna take that damn thing. Oh my God, there goes my door. All right. I don't have a latch to keep this thing shut. Luckily the fans, with the fans being on, it kind of creates like pressure in here. Of course that wind is stronger, but oh my God. We are back. The wind kind of stopped for a little bit, and I got some of my big ratchet straps going from one side to the other in two places on the canopy. So it's kind of holding my tarp a little bit, you know? I don't know. It's starting to rain now. I'm gonna try to get as much done as I can out here before it starts pouring too terribly bad. All the flat areas like this and up here and everything I'm doing with the DA. And then I'm going to come back and do all the stuff that's like on the inside by hand. Like all inside of here, the door jamb, all that stuff. Because the DA is just going to obviously take a bunch of areas down the metal if I try to sand inside of all this contoured stuff with the sander. I got to sand all inside of here by hand. I'm going to sand these guys because they got to get painted white. Tail light buckets. I haven't done anything over here. So I'm going to hit all this with the 220. Before I move over to the passenger side. I try not to get too far ahead of myself so I don't forget where it is that I've hit, you know, like 120, 220. Try to get this side completely done first before we move on. there as long as I could last night, man. The rain actually calmed down a little bit, but I got this thing completely sanded last night. Now what it is I am wanting to do is go over and pressure wash it, and because I noticed there's a lot of dirt still down inside of all the crevices and everything. We need to get all of that out before we start spraying. And I've got a bucket over here that's got nothing but water and dish soap. So if you guys know, before you're about ready to paint a car, dish soap works good because it actually fights grease, like it's supposed to remove grease. You don't want to use any kind of car wash soap because that has like waxes and stuff in it that can actually cause problems for your paint. So anyhow, I'm gonna use the scrub brush and really try to get down inside of all these crevices and whatnot and just get this thing sprayed off. Then we got to clear the booth of all the dust that we made in there. Just blow it out really quick and then get this thing back in there. And the only thing left we have to do before primer is get everything masked off so we can start spraying. Alright, got this thing all nice and cleaned up. All the little crevices, you know, down inside of here. All the way around. Everything that I can spray my pressure washer into got pressure washed out. I also went through with compressed air and kind of like got all the cracks and stuff all blown out of there. Car has been sitting now for about 2 hours since I actually pressure washed this, just to kind of allow it to dry. So now what I'll do is go through with the air nozzle once again and just make sure there's nothing like puddled up inside of any of these areas. And yeah, dude, we got to start masking this thing. Once I get it all masked, I want to go over it really quick with a like a piece of Scotch-Brite, just to be sure that absolutely everything is scuffed. Once the windows and everything are all masked, then I can take my Scotch-Brite and kind of form it into these cracks and just kind of make sure that, you know, it's got a nice good scuff all the way down inside of there. I'm probably gonna have to figure out something to try and raise this up. I'm trying to not remove the glass because, like I mentioned, we haven't 100% decided whether we're just going to leave the glass or do Lexan. If we're doing Lexan, I would just simply cut all this stuff out. But if we are leaving the glass, I'd rather not cut that out. All right, here we go, man. This is the this is the exciting part. The final last blowing the dust off of it and getting it ready to put some paint down. I mean, we're just spraying primer right now, of course, but this is just a super exciting moment for me. I don't know if any of you guys have ever painted a car, then you probably understand and can relate. As you get closer and closer to the prep work being done, and now you're able to just finally start putting down some primer. But anyhow, I also wanted to kind of explain this. I didn't really give you any context. What I'm doing here is just kind of shoving some rope underneath the gasket around the rear window. This is just going to raise that rubber gasket ever so slightly, so then it's not just sitting down like flat on the body whenever we go to paint. Not only will my paint be able to go underneath it and extend past the rubber seal, but then it gives it a little bit more like safety for whenever you're taping to try to keep your paint off of the rubber seal. All in all, it's a good method. I forget where I learned this, but ever since since I did, I've been using it ever since. But for the most part, now we just got to go through and get everything that we don't want paint on masked off, you know, because I don't want paint all over the windows and stuff. Alright, I have got almost everything masked off, man. The only thing I have left now is the rear suspension. Well, this side, it's kind of a pain in the ass, dude, because literally everything inside of here is brand new. And if it's not brand new, it has been sanded down and painted. As you guys know, if you guys been keeping up with this series, like the brake lines, like absolutely everything is brand spanking new, dude. So yeah, you don't want any kind of little speckled overspray on it. So I kind of got a little meticulous and completely masked off everything underneath here. All the way down to the control arms, all of it, the brake lines. So yeah, we will end up having to touch up the wheel well again since we've already sprayed them black. But that's easy, man. The same way that we already sprayed them, just a can of black spray paint. Yeah, I just have this side now left to do. I got to get that all masked off. And then, yeah, skim over it like I mentioned with a Scotch-Brite just over all the little like door jambs and everything. Make sure I didn't miss anything as far as scuffing because we want our paint to stick, of course. Yeah, that's it, dude. Then we'll be able to start on our first coat of primer. All right, guys, we are ready to start primering this thing. So today we are going to be using a high build primer. This is pretty much what I use on everything. I like high build because it's in the name. You're capable of building it up high if there's areas that you need to kind of smoothen down and sand down. Now the body on this is in really great shape. The only thing that I'm probably going to do is the areas that came out like this where it's bare metal and I can see that there was maybe a dent or something repaired in a previous paint job. I'm going to go ahead and go through and hit all those spots first, and then I'm going to come back and just do a coat over the entire car. So for the most part, those areas are getting 2 coats, whereas I'm really only doing 1 coat on the entire car. But anyhow, this is a U-pull. The product number and stuff is here if you guys are interested in it. It is a 4-to-1, so that means 4 parts primer and then 1 part of the hardener, and then you can also put 1 part of basically a universal reducer if you'd like to thin it out. That's what I did here. Now if you are going over body work, you don't really like places you've repaired the body and you want to build it up really high, you want to avoid reducing it. But like I said, the body on this car is like immaculate, bro. There's like the little spots like I mentioned, but literally nothing, like not even a ding, bro. So definitely stoked about that. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get into this. I've already got my paint all mixed up inside of my Tillswall Pinto GT. All right, there it is. Yeah, this thing is primer, dude. I'm not gonna lie, this is, by the time this video is posted and you guys are seeing this, I probably have upwards of 30 hours invested into this one video. And I'm sure it don't seem like it. But you know, I've told you guys time and time again, it's really difficult to make content off of painting, because just to get it to this point was hours and hours of work, like I mentioned. And it's all repetitive stuff, just sanding, blowing off the dust, sanding, blowing off the dust. You know, it's like, how can you really make content on that? But I try my damnedest. But anyhow, we have this thing primered. I cannot do anything with this until tomorrow. I know it says that you can sand this primer after like 3 hours or something, but from my experience, the longer you let this primer dry, the easier it is to sand, and a whole lot less sandpaper you go through. So if you start sanding on this too soon, it gums up the sandpaper. I'm gonna allow it to dry overnight, and I would say probably around 10, maybe noonish, this thing will be ready for sanding. And then once it's sanded, dude, I can just get straight to spraying it. We got to get the chassis done and moved out so we can get all the rest of the parts in. But what's going to be really nice about having this done is, as I'm finishing the rest of the parts, I can literally just put the parts back on the car. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget, this can be your car. The link is in the description down below. Just go grab yourself one single t-shirt. Can literally win you this thing. Smash the like button, of course, if you enjoyed the video. Peace, and I'll see you tomorrow. That's gonna do it for this one. We got all the prep work knocked out. The body's in primer, and now it's finally time for the fun part. In the next video, we're gonna be spraying this thing, peeling all this damn masking off, and seeing the fresh paint in the sun for the first time. That video goes live Wednesday at 5 p.m. So make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you guys then. Don't forget, every $5 on DeadBeatGarage.com is going to get you an entry to this car being yours. Later.